In the previous video, we talked about the concept of energy and why it's so important in magnetism. Now, we are going to talk about how you are preventing your magnetism from fully manifesting. In other words, why don't you already have magnetism? There are only two reasons that can make you not have the kind of magnetism that you want. The first are leaks. Leaks is how you waste your energy away. The most common cause of a leak is indeed the energy blocks that you may have, the contractions inside your body that prevent the expansion of your magnetism. But a leak can also be related to your lack of mind control or something else related to inner power. The second reason is about the energy quality. You are projecting the wrong type of energy for what you want. And the right question to ask here would be, why aren't you projecting the right energy, or the energy that you would prefer to have? Let's look at both of these reasons in more detail, starting with your energy quality. Having the wrong energy quality will necessarily repel people or events or behaviors from you. So you need to master the necessary energy qualities for what you want. In Charisma School, we work mostly in two distinct realms, although others are easily done so as well. We work mostly with personal magnetism and sexual magnetism. In the first, we develop tension energy, and in the second, we develop sexual energy. You may have a question, so why those specific types? Why not others? We can focus on different types as the qualities of magnetism are infinite, just like the work that can be done with energy. But these two types of energies can make you work specifically with the two forces more important for humans, power and sex. By working with tension energy, you understand the energy behind power. By working with sexual energy, you understand the energy behind sex. A combination of the work of these two energies allows you to understand the incredible depth of your major impulses. In other words, they reveal your true self. Of course, you cannot really cheat when you work with energy. Regardless of what you think or what beliefs you may have about yourself, your energy will put everything in the open. It will reveal you. Both power and sex are two of the most important driving forces of your behaviors. If you understand and master them, you are on your way to mastering yourself. As we have seen before, most people are just blindly led by their impulses. They feel something, justify it rationally, and then do the behavior. If we go straight to the source and feel the energy directly, we can then consciously choose what we want to do. That's why we focus on tension energy and sexual energy. Those are the strongest drives and impulses of our human experience. The more we are aware of and control them, the more we can control and master ourselves. But with most students, they have no idea how any of them manifest inside and outside. They just know that they are not having the power they want or the sex they want. But why is this happening? What exactly happens with your power impulse and sex impulse? What is blocking them inside of you and preventing their full unfoldment and also their control? This leads us to the second reason. If you can feel energy internally, you will come across energy blocks. It's inevitable. These are areas of your body where your energy is not circulating. There is a contraction. It seems stuck in a specific place. It can feel uncomfortable, tight. It can be a smaller area or a bigger one. Either way, the energy is not flowing there correctly. Somehow, it's stuck. It's similar to a roadblock that doesn't allow cars to use that lane. You may think, well, what's the big deal? It's only a minor thing that I can barely feel. And you may be right. Certain blocks probably won't bother you. And in fact, unless you start observing and become aware of what's happening inside your body, most likely you wouldn't even know that they are there, or at least you won't recognize them as such. The problem are those that don't allow the energy circulation at critical moments and force certain behaviors. For example, let's say that you are invited to a public speaking event where you are the main speaker, even though you don't have any practice in this field. Your anxiety suddenly rises. Anxiety is a combination of symptoms, like raising heart rate, muscle tension, sweating, and so forth, and they are caused by one or more internal energy contractions. An inflow of energy rises in you and wants to circulate inside, but it's forced to stop due to one or more energetic blocks. It then needs to find new outlets since the energy needs to circulate. With this specific anxiety, you may feel a strong energetic or a muscular contraction, an energy block, in your stomach, heart, or other area. Then, by not allowing your energy to circulate in your heart region, for example, that strong emotional energy will need to go somewhere. Maybe you will have an impulse to run away, act impulsively, freeze, talk faster, and all the other symptoms related to your anxiety. Once you're aware of your body and your energy flow, you may work on those blocks to let them go and allow the energy to flow there once again. It's the same thing as if your hand was closed very tightly and all you need to open is to relax it. The problem with energy blocks is twofold. More often than not, you don't know that your hand is closed or you don't know how to open it. Just like a baby won't be able to walk or have certain fine hand movements because he hasn't learned how to use those muscles. In the same way, if you have not gained this awareness, then you will only react to the blocked energy with certain behaviors without even knowing what is happening inside your body. You won't release this energy or open your hand because either you don't know it's rigid and or you don't know how to open it. If you go deeper into it, we can understand that energy blocks are nothing more than defense mechanism. If you think about it, that's what's the number one thing that you do if someone attempts to punch you and you cannot dodge. Well, you contract to be able to better withstand a punch. This is a natural reaction from your body. We contract to defend ourselves. Sometimes in our early life, we contract to defend ourselves in certain situations. They don't necessarily mean someone attacked you physically, although that can happen. It could be a verbal or psychological. It doesn't even mean that the other person meant it as an attack. Sometimes the most straightforward and simple events can impact our body and energy in a way that makes us want to defend, particularly in our early years. And because you didn't know how to defend yourself, well, how could you? You contracted internally. You prepare for impact. Then, as time went by, that area you naturally used for that situation ended up being used each time something remotely similar happened. Maybe it was not your father screaming at you, perhaps it was a teacher or your boss. And each time, you reinforced that same energy block. That's why it's perfectly normal for specific memories to come to mind when we work with energy blocks. They are created from these memories. Often, we do need to go into your memories to let them go, since your body and mind needs to reintegrate them. But it's pretty tricky to let go of them and decondition your body to stop defending in this particular way. But this unblocking and releasing is 100% necessary to allow your energy to circulate and your magnetism to fully shine. Energetically, the block will always be a contraction, but it can have different manifestations in your behavior depending on where is the contraction and how it behaves itself. Your mind then interprets it in a different way, just like what Freud talked about defense mechanisms. It could be simply using humor to avoid that energy block, so the blocked energy could be redirected to discharging and laughing and humor. It could also make you attack someone else by projecting that energy to the other person, or create deeper repressions that eventually turn into illnesses and health problems, among many other aspects. So naturally, we want to avoid blocks as much as possible, and we want energy to be correctly flowing inside without interruptions. In another example, if each time a sexual situation happens, let's say you are interacting with someone that you find attractive, and elicit sexual energy in you, you contract that energy, then you are not allowing that energy to fully manifest in yourself, both internally and externally. So it won't be projected, and the other person won't feel your energy. Most likely, they will immediately and unconsciously categorize you as a friend because there's no sexuality in you. They project their sexual energy to you but receive nothing back. Just like playing a tennis match where the other person won't send the ball back. If, on the other hand, they receive a strong sexual energy from you, this would mean that you weren't contracting your energy. In other words, you have no blocks to your sexual energy. Instead, you would be fully externalized and completely comfortable with your sexuality and its expression. This will force the other person to make a much more polarized decision. Either they accept and like your sexual energy or they won't. It won't be a friend zone, or at least not for long. It's not possible. The energetic tension would be far too great. This tells you an important thing about magnetism. In fact, you are not learning or training magnetism. And it seems paradoxical to say that, but it's a fact. You are not doing exercises to increase your magnetism and strengthen it. In truth, about 90% of what you do in the magnetic training is learning how to save and conserve energy and to allow it to flow inside of you. This is the only way for magnetism to grow. which in fact is not growing, it's simply not wasting it. In other words, fixing your blocks and leaks. In fact, most of the one-on-one magnetic coaching that we provide is done by fixing these aspects of yourself that are preventing your magnetism from unfolding. That's the true hard work. I could give you right now 5 of the most potent magnetism increasing exercises, and you could do them every day without fail. Yet, your practical results would be only temporary or weak. Even if you leave your house radiating a powerful magnetism, it's very easy to lose it all in your first interaction. Why? Because your magnetism is hindered and wasted away by your leaks, blocks, and defense mechanism. Maybe that first interaction activates heavy blocks inside of you that consume most of your energy and make it contract instead of expand. So you are constantly trying to fill a leaky bucket. Until you start addressing your energy blocks, your leaks, and will-wasting mechanisms, the magnetism cannot grow and your results will only be temporary. The problem is that it takes radical honesty to face those aspects that you prefer to ignore and sweep under the rug. It's painful to address them and may reveal a side of you that is not pleasant or nice to look at. Unfortunately, we all have this side that we prefer to avoid seeing or addressing. Yet, this side of you is precisely what's keeping you from being magnetic. This wastes your energy. Hence, it must be healed and accepted before unleashing your full magnetism. We prefer to live in a comfortable bubble with our own defense mechanisms and blocks that prevent us from experiencing life differently, in a magnetic way. That's why it's so hard to change. You may even think how irrational it is to have so much resistance to this change process when you consciously know that it will be for the best. You want to be magnetic, yet there is an extreme resistance to it. So many defense mechanisms are stopping you from projecting your energy. The reason is simple and is summarized in this old saying: it's better the devil that you know than the devil you don't. You are already used to what you are and what you have. It's much more comfortable for your whole system to stay the same. We seek comfort and habituation, and for that, we develop defense mechanisms to ensure it. These defense mechanisms and habituation can take several forms. Comfort is not necessarily about staying in your home and not doing much. Your comfort zone can be precisely in avoiding deeper contact with yourself and constantly seeking external stimulation. For example, constant partying and traveling can be a defense mechanism. Yet, continually staying at home can also be a defense mechanism for someone else. It's up to you to understand how these defense mechanisms happen in you. What is the devil you know? What does it manifest inside of you? What's it stopping you from doing? What's the devil that you don't know here? Notice how you are being pushed to do the same things repeatedly, even if they take different clothing. Magnetism is always an energy that expands. The more you can make it expand without resistance, the more magnetic you can become. It may look like a lot of work to do all this, and in fact it can be, but you don't need perfection and eliminate every single block that you may have. Not at all. You need to be good enough for your magnetism to express it the way you want to. On the next video, we'll tie everything together and we'll finally discuss what we consider charisma. See you then.